Hello, hello, and happy, wonderful, marvelous Monday, everybody. How are you? I hope that you all are well. I'm Karissa Spann, and thank you so much for joining me today. This is what I do each and every Monday. Do apologize for the delay in coming on today, but I wanted to have a conversation around a topic that has created a buzz, if you will, pertaining to black mold. And so, this information today is to hopefully help tenants as well as landlords in rental communities. And so, thank you for tuning in. And if you're watching the replay, thank you so much. I enjoy sharing information. I have been, for most of you who have been watching me, I've been in the industry for almost 3 decades. So, in the capacity of property management, real estate, housing inspector, housing educator, all things rental property. That's what I am. So obviously today, I want to share information for landlords as well as tenants. And so certainly if you have questions or comments, remarks, or observations, please do share it in the comment section and I will respond to your questions or concerns today. But this is a serious matter for a lot of rental properties, a lot of rental communities. And so I just want to say thank you so much for tuning in to all of my viewers who are watching by way of Facebook, YouTube, or LinkedIn. I do appreciate you. Thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. All right, so I'm going to get straight into it. I don't want to hold up your time on this wonderful day. I recognize you could be doing anything other than tuning in, listening to this live. All right, so black mold. What is it? Where is it found? What can tenants do about it? What landlords can do and should know. All right, so that is what I'm sharing today. And just by way of announcement, the information that I share is not legal advice, but it is the industry's best practice. So when it comes to black mold, here's what I want people to know and understand. Depending on the jurisdiction, all right, that would determine the laws that are in place. All right. And some places, some jurisdictions and cities, the laws are going to be much different. Okay, so it's not a standard rule for everywhere. All right, but the rule of thumb should be if a landlord, if an owner is renting property and if a tenant is complaining of black mold, or maybe let's just say there's a housing inspection, right? So let's say the owner or the owner's representative could be a real estate agent, could be a third party person. If they go out and conduct a housing inspection, and if they see black spots or any type of discoloration, especially if it is on a surface where it may have been impacted by water, I, as a housing professional, all right, I would make sure that it does not present the risk or the hazard of being mold. Now, the thing about mold is this, there's really the best way to determine that it's mold is to have a professional to come out to test it to see if it's mold. All right, so I'm going to get into what mold is, what mold is not, when people, whether it's a tenant or landlord, should be concerned, and when they shouldn't be concerned about it. I know people like Karissa, if it's black mold, shouldn't you always be concerned? Well, some tenants, from what I've seen in the industry, I have managed thousands of properties in multiple jurisdictions. And sometimes I have conducted a housing inspection, and for instance, in the bathroom, right? There have been times where there was black spots on the wall. Not to say that it was or wasn't mold, but sometimes, and in many cases, it's likely not mold. It might be dirt, scum, or buildup. And one of the things that I like to do is to educate my renters and tenants. So I had this one tenant. It was a community that I had just acquired. And then obviously, the tenant wasn't used to someone educating them. I would I would rather educate my tenants because I want people to know how to live, how to maintain the home, and things of that nature. Well, anyway, I had this one tenant, and I explained to her that the black spots on the wall, I didn't believe it was mold, but it was certainly something that we were taking seriously because mold is an environmental hazard. So I did let the young lady know that I believe that it may be dirt buildup or scum because her tub, the bathroom, everything was just completely dirty. And if I could be extremely honest, which I love to do, I told the young lady, if maybe she cleaned up the bathroom, that the spots might go away. I mean, the tub was filthy. There were rings, multiple rings in the tub, as if they never cleaned the tub. Now, this is a judgment free zone. I don't judge people for how they live. I believe in educating people so that they can live better. Okay. And so I just kindly and gently suggested, that the young lady clean up. I did let her know that if she needed assistance with cleaning, that we would pay for a cleaning provider, service provider to come in and to help her clean her rental apartment. And so she was offended by that. And I recognize that sometimes people don't want to be told what to do. But I believe that an educated rental community, it works better when we work together. So when I say we, I mean landlords as well as tenants. All right. So if you're a housing provider, please share this information today that I'm giving you. If you are a tenant, please share this information with other tenants and renters because black mold, again, it is an environmental hazard. It is something that should be taken seriously. And unfortunately, some owners are not proactive, they are reactive. So they will only wait until there is a problem. My goal is to try to prevent these type of issues from happening. Here's why. In addition to it being an environmental hazard, tenants can sue owners and landlords if it presents some sort of health issue. All right. And usually, one of the things that I share is a very simple philosophy: what you don't know can and will hurt you. All right. So, in situations where a tenant is complaining to you as a landlord, a housing professional, if the tenant has ever complained about mold, please take it seriously. All right. Because if you don't, the tenant will. All right. So let me get into the tips that I do want to share with you today. And thank you so much for joining me. This is what I do each and every Monday at 7:30 p.m. So again, because black mold is an environmental hazard, it should be taken seriously. So I want to talk about where mold can be found because mold can be found in many places. All right. It could be small, it could be a large issue. Mold could also be smelly. It could look disgusting. Mold takes on different forms and shapes, if you will. Mold can be found on wet surfaces in the bathroom, in the kitchen. I have seen mold coming out of an HVAC vent. And so in that situation, it would denote that maybe that HVAC system should be cleaned, professionally cleaned, okay, from the inside. Um, Mold can be found behind walls, on the floors, under the floors, could be in the basement area. Um, I remember, and I see some of my students joining me today. Thank you for tuning in. So I remember conducting an inspection, and I had two assistants with me. One was an intern. And so we were conducting a housing inspection of a single family home. And in that home, it was a really large basement. The tenant unplugged the humidifier because she said that it was causing her electric bill to be extremely high. So when she unplugged the device, um, for whatever reason, that rental property did have a lot of moisture in the basement area. And so when she unplugged the device, it created an issue. And so mold has started to surface. So the young lady, she began to complain, oh, well, I have mold and I need something done about it. So when I inspected the property on behalf of the owner, um, I explained to the young lady that she has to keep the device plugged up. She complained that it was too much on her electric bill, although the owner disputed that. And long story short, the owner did not take care of the problem. And obviously, if you don't take care of a water issue, it's not going to go away on its own. And so this is why I share information, because sharing is caring. Well, wouldn't you know it, the mold, it grew, and it covered most of the basement. That tenant actually ended up suing that owner. And so a small problem that could have cost maybe a couple of $100 ended up costing that owner thousands of dollars. So you can understand why I'm sharing this information today. We are in, just depending on where you are watching, we are in a season where we have received a lot of rain. All right. And sometimes when there are some issues, some water issues in rental properties, the more it rains, the more issues that you'll see popping up. And so I've received some complaints just recently regarding mold in rental property. So when it comes to mold and your health, please take it seriously. So whether you're renting property, you own property and you're renting it to somebody else, or you just flat out own it and you possibly have mold where you live at in your home, please take it seriously, because it is an environmental hazard. It can impact your health at any given time, and it can impact your life in ways that you never imagined. And so, mold is one of the most controversial issues that is taking place now when it comes to complaints in the home and health issues and things that tenants are experiencing. All right. And remember, I said that tenants can sue their landlord for mold issues. A lot of lawsuits are starting to pop up because of mold. I'm not talking about mold. I'm not talking about mold, the little black spots in the bathroom. I'm talking about like really serious issues. It's a serious matter, and I hope that people take it seriously. But not all mold is harmful to your health. So remember, I talked about the black spots in the bathroom, right? So like soap scum, dirt buildup. Unless a mold inspector goes out, test it, they'll usually test the air quality and they'll verify that yes, it is mold, it's not mold. But just because it's there does not mean that it presents a health issue. Um, so I want tenants to understand that there is a role that they play when it comes to getting rid of or preventing the spread of mold, because all owners won't come in and, for instance, clean the bathroom. So remember, I talked about the young lady. She had a really dirty bathroom, looked like she had never cleaned it. And so that owner, unfortunately, that owner did have to pay thousands of dollars, but that owner did also pay for cleaning services. But not all owners have the capacity or the financial means to pay for cleaning services. And so if you are a tenant, one of the things that I recommend after you use the bathroom, maybe your shower or bathtub, just go ahead and clean it and wipe it down. And usually the housing code, depending on the jurisdiction, let me just say that, because not all landlords are created equally. Usually there should be either a vent for ventilation to pull the moisture from out of the bathroom area. So, for instance, if someone is taking a shower, there should either be a window that is operable, right, or either an exhaust fan, a vent to pull the moisture out. And sometimes when that is not in place, the moisture will sit in the water from the shower, the steam, things of that nature, along with dirt and scum and the stuff that builds up on the wall. It could present an issue over time. And so um, after you take a bath or shower, just go ahead, wipe it down, clean it really good, and make sure that it's dry. If you do that, that will minimize the possibility of water and moisture, that moisture rather, building up in that area. And then sometimes people can see mold in the kitchen, right? So around the kitchen sink, the faucet, usually around the caulking, the trim. Sometimes people will see black spots and things building up. And so if you see those things as a tenant, go ahead and let your landlord know. Maybe they could recaulk or reseal that area so that it's not presenting what could appear to be mold. And in many cases, that may or may not be mold. But again, it just has to be tested by an inspector to confirm if it is in fact mold. All right, so let me just share one more thing, because I want people to understand the impact of mold. Remember, I said that tenants can sue their landlord? Well, this one young lady who reached out to me, which is why I'm sharing this information today, she said, Karissa, listen, I've contacted my landlord several times. The young lady, she sent emails. She contacted the inspector's office in her jurisdiction. And unfortunately, because of COVID, the inspector office never showed up. They never came to do the inspection. And so she took matters into her own hands. She contacted an attorney and she actually sued the owner. And unfortunately, this owner did have to pay because in that particular jurisdiction, that owner is required, number one, to be notified. So documentation beats conversation every time. And if you've been following me, you know that this is something that I share. Document, document, document. So the tenant, she presented evidence that she contacted the landlord many times, advising that her rental home had what she suspected to be mold. She asked the landlord to go out and have it inspected, and the landlord refused. Landlord never went out, never inspected, never had a housing professional, I'm sorry, a mold inspector um, to test it. And so the tenant went above and beyond and paid for it to be tested. And then over a period of time, because it was there in that rental property for, I think, almost 3 years, like 2.5 years. And obviously the problem got worse. And so this is why I share information to try to prevent other people from going down that rabbit hole because like I said, what people don't know can and or will hurt or destroy you. And so, because I believe if you treat your rental property like a business, it should pay you like a business. But if you treat it like a hobby, well, it's going to pay you like a hobby. And if you're not taking care of repairs and maintenance, you're not following up with tenants when they are expressing their concern about possible mold. And if you don't take it seriously, then you obviously don't take your rental business seriously. All right. And so in this situation, the landlord had to pay the tenant for the landlord's neglect. I mean, I think that's just the craziest thing to do, right? If it's a business, you should be uh, generating revenue from a business. But if you don't care, or if you have, for instance, a property manager or someone taking care of the rental property for you, right? And I get it. Some people don't have the knowledge, they don't have the background, the education, or the skill set to effectively or successfully manage rental property. And they're doing the best that they can. But sometimes, like I said, what you don't know can and will hurt you. In many places throughout the United States, property management is something that a lot of people think that they could just jump into. And I promise you that property management is so much more than collecting money at the beginning of the month from your tenants. It requires conducting repairs and maintenance and managing that landlord and tenant relationship. And sometimes that's not always an easy thing to do, especially if the tenant is not the best with housekeeping. And so when you see something, say something. If you have a tenant, housing providers, this is for you. If you have a tenant who may not be the cleanest, maybe they could use some help with housekeeping and tips. Go ahead and have that conversation, but just do it in a way that is respectful. Please don't disrespect the tenants. Please don't pass judgment because the rental property may not be clean, or maybe they don't clean the way that you would clean it, right? But then again, common sense is something that everybody don't possess. Common sense is not so common for everybody, but again, going back to the if you see something, say something, make that a campaign. When you see things wrong in rental property, say something. All right. And if there's an issue, try to get your tenant some help. Try to suggest ways to remedy the situation, especially if tenants are responsible for those things. Help them to understand that if they do what they're supposed to do, it won't create an issue. And again, these problems and issues won't go away on its own. So it's always best to take care of the problem when it's small. It minimizes the cost that could be involved or associated if the problem grows to become something out of control. All right, so that's really what I wanted to share today about black mold. Please take it seriously. Check the jurisdiction where your rental property is because not all states and cities have laws governing how landlords should take care of mold issues. And so I do hope that this was helpful today. I know that the young lady who sent this to me, she is going to watch the replay. She's not on now, but she asked that I do share it. I've had a couple of emails regarding mold, and when I get a subject matter that I believe is helpful for the rental community, whether it's for a landlord or a tenant, I promise I will share it. And so if you have a subject that you would like for me to cover in the upcoming weeks, please let me know. Please send me an email if there's something that you would like for me to cover. If there's a question that I can answer on this live, that's what this time is for. Every Monday, 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I promise you that showing up to get this free information could save you thousands of dollars. All right. If you just apply the information that I share, I'm not charging you a consultant fee to show up on Facebook, LinkedIn, or YouTube. I'm sharing information because I care. All right. So let me pull up my email address on the screen in the event that you want to email me. I want you to reach out to me and I will answer your questions, even if I'm not online. Let me find my email address for you, and it's here. It's going to be carissaspann@gmail.com. That is my email address. Please, if you have questions, if you have comments, you can email me or you can ask me while I am live and online. So thank you so much today for watching. My time is up. I thank you for yours. And again, I hope that this information was helpful. Please do share this information with other landlords and or tenants and join me every Monday, 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Also, if you have not found me on YouTube, please subscribe to my YouTube channel so that you'll know when I am live and online. I will share more information in the upcoming weeks on some new sessions that I've been working on. I'm excited about. And I love and appreciate you all for sticking in here with me. I'm Karissa Spann, the landlord and tenant coach. I hope to see you all next week. Bye for now.